All right, we are live, are we? Yes, we are. Fantastic. Hey guys, welcome to today's session. I hope we're I hope we're live. Yes, we are. All right, we are live, are we? Yes. Yeah, fantastic. Alrighty guys, so welcome to today's session. We are live. I love it when technology works. Alrighty guys, so in today's session, I want to cover a few things. Firstly, I want to give you a good overview of what the stock market, where the stock market is right now, the Dow Jones, S&P, NASDAQ, stuff like that. I also want to give you an overview of the metals as well too, the mining stocks. And also, we'll be covering some of the long-term things that are going to come into play. That's more for like long-term perspective and so on and so forth. So that's what I really want to focus on in today's session. There, get you ready for the weekend, and you know I might slip in some other stuff there as well too, so we can continue. So we have a really good training session for you today, guys. And we're going to get into it right now. So before I start, guys, and before I get into it, let me just bring up the typical disclaimer. Guys, do not place a trade based on what you're seeing in this session today, because trading is risky and it can cause substantial financial loss. There is no guarantees of making a profit in the markets. And it's so critical, especially right now, that you don't be too risky on any given one trade. All right, it's so important that you keep your risk really low, okay? Because doesn't matter how much you think one individual trade is going to do well, we just never know, okay? We never know up front. So just be smart about the way that you're trading. And this is just to give you some general education to help you moving forward with the trading. Also, guys, I'm running another web class today. So if you'd like to learn my number one trading system, you'd like to learn how I scan the markets to find these trades. I scan up to 3,000 stocks, and also how I trade options. The number one thing that actually got me from losing $250,000 to actually then becoming a successful trader, and how I trade less than 1 hour per day. Then go to johnslivetraining.com, and I have a full complete training. I'm going to walk you through the 3 secrets that actually helped me get to where I am today, and how you can start to apply these things and my actual step-by-step trading system in your trading today. So let's actually get straight into the markets right now, okay? And the really interesting thing is the really interesting thing is let's do this here. Boom. Alrighty, guys. So the interesting thing about the actual stock market itself, okay, and what's going on right now in the stock market is that that right now we're getting a very big sort of a big move off this sort of where we are right now. And the interesting thing is that if you look back over time, okay, if you look back over, say, the monthly chart first, you can see how since 2009 we had a nice move up. 15, 16, we had this sort of pullback through here, really not much going on, and then we had a very nice move up, and now it looks like we're just sort of they're just pushing it. They're just pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And so by looking at that and by looking at the weekly chart, we can really see how that once we started to break out of these sort of levels through here, especially on the Dow Jones, especially on the Dow Jones, we're sort of pushing up, and now we're pulling back through here. It looks like they're trying to really push this to the high side. And so by spending all this time going sideways, and now we're starting to create really nicely stair steps here. Stair step 1, stair step 2, and now we're really just breaking out of this sort of it was just a real sideways phase through here, as you can see, right? So all this sideways phase through here, and you can see that that's what's going on through there. So we had a bit of a breakdown, then it comes straight back up, and now we're really just rallying out of this level through here. So by looking at the actual Dow Jones and by looking at everything that's actually going on in the markets right now, it does look like that, especially what actually happened recently, right? We had a bit of a drop down, and isn't that interesting, guys? All right, isn't that interesting? Let me bring up the candlestick chart here for a minute, because I knew you like the candlestick charts. John, don't show the black bars. Show me the candlestick charts. So I cracked myself up. Isn't it really interesting, guys? Like, it's so fascinating, right, to think about this. Look at this. We had a bit of a drop down here, right? A bit of a gap down here on some news, right? And then suddenly what happens, right? We had a bit of a pullback. Probably got everyone freaked out saying this was going to be the top. And then suddenly a good jobs report comes out and we're starting to really just buoy, right? We're just going for it again. It's really interesting, right, to see that this pullback and then the rally. It was like this was sort of preordained, if that's the word. It was like it was sort of set up, right? Because we were moving up for quite some time, and we're due for some sort of a pullback anyway. So we did get a bit of a pullback, not much of a pullback, and then suddenly, bam, out of nowhere came a good jobs report. So it was like the market was waiting for a nice pullback to get long again. And so it was just really, really, really fascinating to see that that's what's going on through there. So if I look at, say, the S&P 500 as well too, guys, this is just on a steaming. It's on a steam. It's like there's nothing stopping this thing. There really isn't, and it's like you can jump in front of this and try to continue to short the market, right? You can just try to jump in front of it and try to short it. But my oh my, it's like with the S&P 500, right? We can see how that we've definitely had this sort of let me just take this off screen here, like a very, 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 very tight triangle pattern, and now we're just breaking out, right? We can see how it's squeezed up, and now they're just breaking out. The interesting thing is that more than likely, Donald Trump is probably going to be elected in the markets, in the stock market. But and the interesting thing is that Paul Tudor Jones actually said on a recent talk that he had just recently that if Donald Trump is elected, which is probably likely to be elected, then that's probably going to equate to a 3,600 S&P. Now, I know that sounds crazy right now, but a 3,600 S&P. So this really, really, really does look like this sort of triangle pattern as we're just doing nothing here for a while. We had a big move up and then it just did nothing for a while, and now we're pushing up, and now we had a little bit of a pullback towards this trend line, and now we're sort of pushing up. Oh my goodness. We can see how that this is really, really, really just I could just see some really big moves out of this, guys. So do not try to be short this market right now until certain things happen. Right now, anything can happen, but if you're trying to short the Dow Jones or short the S&P or even short the Nasdaq, my goodness, guys, I truly believe we're getting ready for what we call a blow off top, and we haven't actually seen that yet. I don't believe. We had a big move up, and same with the Nasdaq, right? Look at the Nasdaq here. Nasdaq, same thing, right? Squeezed into this triangle pattern. And now look at this, squeezed up. And now we're just we held here, and now we broke out, and now we're just sort of holding here. This looks like it's about to go for a pretty, pretty big run. And all I see, guys, is a very, very, very bullish move out of this. But this does not equate to all stocks, guys. It's so important. Like right now, I'm actually short two different. I'm actually short one ETF, and you guys probably know what that is right now for on a trading purposes anyway, not long term. But also I'm actually short one stock. So this has got nothing to do with the individual stocks itself. But when we're talking about the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P, it is just getting ready, guys. Like this is getting ready to really, really, really take off. And once again, I see the Dow Jones. I really see the Dow Jones up here around at least the 30,000 mark. At least that 30,000 mark, guys. Before we start to see, like, look at this here, right? Before we start to see potentially some reversal there. But this 30,000 Dow, guys, probably even a lot higher, is probably where we're likely to run to. This whole, I really believe we're about to see some really, really, really big moves out of these markets. And the good thing about that, guys, if you're prepared for this, right? If you're prepared for this move, that you can take advantage of it, where you can wait for really good trading opportunities to jump in on this big move up, right? You don't want to just jump in because, oh, well, it looks like it's going to take a big move. I think it's going to make a big move. I'm going to jump in this. That's the wrong approach that you want to do with your trading. The most important thing to your trading is that you're having some confidence, right? So even though I believe we're likely to go for a big move up, I am still waiting for some sort of a good entry here on the Dow Jones. I'm still waiting for some sort of a good entry based on my trading plan. Again, if you go to johnslivetrading.com, you'll see my plan. But the whole thing here is, right, is like, by looking out and understanding these markets and where they're going, it's like, this is going to be big, right? This is going to be real big in the markets. And again, do not try to be picking this top right now, because there is nothing, absolutely nothing on this chart. And that's why I released a training yesterday on my YouTube channel. And I released it yesterday, and it was a replay of a training that I did a few months ago. But the reason why I released it again yesterday was to try to remind you guys, if you haven't seen it, to show you every single market downturn starts to give you some patterns on that chart. And it does come down to something simple as that on the charts before we start to see some significant downturn. So that's the reason why, if you haven't seen that video that I did yesterday on my YouTube, I titled it Market Meltdown. And in that, I share with you, I went through all the stock market crashes in history, or over the last at least 100 years at least. And I walked you through what was the number one key pattern that we saw at the charts before. And you can clearly see the market gives you some sign of that happening. And that is not happening right now. It's like, this is so incredible. And the good thing about this is that there are stocks right now that are poised to make a real big move with this. And like, I'm already positioned for some of these particular stocks. Like there's some few stocks out there, guys, right now that, oh my goodness, that they are just going to make some enormous moves over the next couple of months. And I'm positioned already for it. I was doing some analysis last week, and it's like, and just get ready for it, right? So anyway, I'm really excited for this time. I'm really, really, really excited. And the whole thing about this, guys, is that we can, it's like, we can be so cranky about, oh, they manipulated the markets, and oh, they're going to keep pushing up until they're not happy, and all this sort of stuff, and and they're going to crash the market when they want to crash the market, and all this, when whoever they are going to do that. You can use that as a storyline, as like, yeah, they, right? But the whole thing is like, who cares about what they do? And if we realize that they, whoever they are going to keep pushing this market higher, why not look for really good long opportunities and go with they to benefit with they? Right? It's like, who cares about the market being manipulated and all this sort of stuff? And they're going to keep pushing it, and oh, they're going to keep manipulating the market. They're going to keep pushing the market. They're never going to let this market crash. Well, guess what? If that's true, then just keep going with it. Keep riding it. Enjoy, if this is going to go through a big move, then enjoy and, position yourself so you can benefit from that as well too, while keeping your risk under check. And so, guys, that's what I'm seeing right now with the Dow Jones and the S&P 500, guys. Once again, when you go to johnslivetrading.com, you'll be able to see how I trade the markets and what sort of setups I look for, especially in this current market right now. And there's so many good really opportunities right now with this volatile market. Be excited about this, but be patient in waiting for good setups. This is an amazing time to do well, guys. Amazing, amazing, amazing time. And I'm so excited. But on the flip side, don't just be willy-nilly just getting into things because you think it's a good idea. You need an exact plan. You need an exact pattern, right? You need something to give you confidence. So anyway, guys, again, johnslivetrading.com if you want to see my plan. I teach you my plan so you can start to use it. On the free training, I teach you it so you can start to at least apply some of that to your trading right now today. So, and so, guys, the whole thing about this, guys, is that it's just again, guys, I'm so excited. I know I just keep saying that, but if we can see what the market's likely to have, at least for the next couple of months, we can be just so excited for this and so good for this. It's like, oh my goodness, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be amazing. And it really is. Because I know a few stocks off the top of my head right now, and I'll get into those a bit later on, that just, oh my goodness, we are just set to see what I call a blast off move. And it's just, I noticed these few stocks by doing my analysis and my research and stuff like that. It's like these stocks are going to make a big move, real big move. So anyway, so that's what I see right now. I'm on the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones. Let's go have a look at the metals right now. Okay, so let's have a look at gold first, and let's actually bring up just some long-term charts, a longer-term chart perspective. From a longer term chart perspective, there is a couple of different levels that are really starting and really likely to come into play. Now, I titled this Silver and Gold, It's Going to Be Big. And why I titled the stream today, and why I titled this session today that, and why I believe that this is going to surprise everyone, is why this is going to be so big. And if you understand, like I'm a technical trader, right? I review the charts. The thing is this, guys, is that the reason why this is going to be so big, and what I mean by it's going to be so big, and it's going to surprise everyone, is the fact that what's likely to happen over the next 5 to 10 years, right? You need to be patient. And position yourself. The biggest wealth opportunities are position yourself. What's going to happen over the next 10 years, and then benefiting from that, and just, you know what, and then just going with that. That's how big wealth is created. Big wealth is created. And so a lot of people say, "Oh, John, you said the big move's going to come," and then like the next day we have nothing, and then we have a little down day. It's like, when you're talking about long-term perspective, guys, okay, if you seriously want to generate big wealth from these markets, then position yourself. It's like buying a property, right? They say property on average, here in Australia anyway, on average doubles every 10 years. Well, you want to look at your positions, these long-term positions, as that. So over the next 10 years, the reason why you say over the next 10 years, because you never know when, it could be 2 years from now, things could start to really kick in big time. It might take 3 years. You just want to make sure you're in there, so when it does happen, you're not quickly scrambling to try to become part of the mania. That's what I mean by it's going to be big. And so as long as you're positioned well, oh my goodness, right? Because what's going to happen here? We do know, right? They're going to keep printing money to as much as they can, right? And you do realize they're not going to pay all the money back. Right? All this debt, they're not going to pay it back. So what's going to happen? Debt defaults, debt restructuring, all that sort of stuff is going to happen. Now, when you start to see things like that, where we see this, what's going to happen here, and that in a turn, because they're printing so much money, and because they won't be able to pay, they won't pay it back. Guess what's going to happen? They're going to default, and more than likely, the US will not be the reserve currency anymore. Now, that may take 2 years to start to unfold. It may take another 5 years for things to, and then there's going to be, we might be shifting into a digital currency. I don't know. Or maybe China, the rising power, maybe that is going to be the currency of the world, right? So if we understand this, then when that happens, when things going to happen, and when especially when the dollar starts to fall and all that sort of stuff, guess what's going to happen to these metals? Oh my goodness, guys! Especially when they start to default on all this debt. Now, again, guys, when I say default, that could be 5 years from now when they get to that point where they just can't do any more. They can't print any more money because they can't keep up with the interest rate payments. And then they're going to default. They can't keep printing and just printing as much as they can, as much as they want, because there is a ceiling there, right? There is a ceiling there of how much they can do before they start to default on that. And that's why looking at like silver and gold, especially like the metals, oh my goodness, guys, This is just gone like, it's incredible. It's going to be massive. It really, really is. And that's why fundamentally, guys, long term, if you position yourself properly, again, I say that this is going to be big, but my long term picture is just like, you can see everything. The next 10 years is going to be this. US currency is going to be devalued so much because of the printing of money. Gold and silver are going to be going through a massive boom when that happens, because people are fearful like crazy, and we're going to see probably one of the biggest bull markets in gold and silver than we've ever seen in our lifetimes. Probably even much bigger if I go down to the GLD. Probably even much bigger than what we saw back here in 2011 and 2012. Right? But when is that going to happen? Now remember, guys, I'm looking at a weekly chart here, right? So that takes time, right? It takes, what is that? That takes a good couple of years for that to completely unfold. This like, oh, it's going to be a big move. John, it didn't do much today. Are you serious now? No. So that's why I say, guys, like you can generate so much wealth over this next decade, can create so much wealth for you if you just position yourself properly for that. And what that means is be part of the metals. Be part of the metals. Especially gold, right? It's like, oh my goodness, because they know that, a couple of things are going to happen. They're going to keep printing more money. They're going to keep dropping interest rates, and they're probably it's going to come to a point in time where they won't be able to pay it back, and they're going to have to default on that because they won't even be able to keep up the interest payments. And then from that, guys, oh my goodness, it's going to be so exciting. So position yourself, guys. Right? You position yourself. Position yourself so over the next 10 years, as this is unfolding, you can be part of it. Don't be trading it. Be an investor in it. What I mean by that is like, get involved with it now. But you need to make sure you're putting money in that you don't need this money, right? But over the next 10 years, I do believe that if you think Bitcoin was big, wait till you see what's going to happen over the next 10 years. And the thing is, guys, we just never know we never know when that's going to happen. But it's going to be so massive. It's going to be so enormous. And that's why I'm so excited right now, guys, because my trading opportunities where I'm in and out from 2 to 5 days, I'm trading, I'm very active there, right? Active income, bam, bam, bam. So excited. And then the long term is so clear what's going to happen that once you start to position yourself both ways, I have a very good successful trading system and I love trading it. I have my losses, yes, they're small, and I have profits, they're big. Thank you very much. Trading income. And then I have my long-term stuff. And as this thing completely unfolds, I keep doing my trading income, and then I just keep loading up long-term to benefit from the biggest move in history. And that's just what I'm doing right now, because I can see, especially with gold, right? Gold is like, oh my goodness, gold is gonna soar, especially when they do eventually go like negative interest rates. Can you imagine what gold's gonna do? Right? Can you just imagine what gold's going to do? Gold's just oh my goodness. Now people say, John, what should I do? Should I do the physical or should I do the digital or whatever? Right? It's like it doesn't matter what you do. Just make sure that if you want to benefit from this, just be part of the next 10 years for this. Right? Now some people, and then there's some people, it depends on where you are, right? Depends on your camp. Do you actually want to hold the physical? Then do that. Or there's some people in the camp that say, you know what, you don't really need to hold the physical, continue it, just buy the actual the gold itself. Right? And then that way you can get in and get out very quickly on a liquid basis. So, and that might mean even just simply just buying the GLD, right? And people say, oh my goodness, John, it's GLD is just the GLD, but it's not, it's not the real thing and stuff like that. But at least the GLD, right? You're riding along, the GLD right now is riding along with, it's going to continue to go with what gold is doing. So you can benefit from gold in price without buying the physical if you want to do that. So guys, again, guys, I'm really, really, really excited, and that's the reason I'm so excited for both these things, guys, because long term, it's so clear what's going to happen. Just position yourself and be patient, because 10 years will come and go, and you can do so well out of this if you're patient and prepared for it. It is all in these markets, right? But as I said before, that you don't want to put all your money into this and then have nothing to live on, right? It's not like that, right? It's putting a portion of your account, putting some of your account into these long-term investments. You say, what? This is a long-term investment. I don't need this money now, and I'm good to go, right? So, and I'm definitely not saying load 100% of your portfolio into the metals right now and go do that. I don't do that myself. I actually split my things up 50-50. 50% of my capital is deployed into long-term stuff, such as what I'm talking about right now. And then the other 50% is now deployed into trading for income. And then what I do is every 2 or 3 months, I will 3 months, sometimes every 6 months, I will look how much money I've actually made, and I'll look and the profits I've made from actual trading income, because I generate an income from that. And on the low end, if I have a really good, say, 3 months, or then I take some of that profit that I've made, and guess what? I go put it back over into the investing account, long-term account, and then I will then start to buy more up long-term, and then I'll just keep going and going and going and going and going from that. And that's how I do my stuff. Trading for income, right? Because it's two different styles of skills there. One, it's just understanding where we are long term and position yourself. The second one is just trading the markets and understanding when trading the markets, you're looking for an exact pattern. You're looking for the exact candle to get in. You're looking for all these things, right? That's trading for income. You're looking for the exact thing. But investing, I don't really care. I'm not looking for the exact thing. I'm just like, I'm in, let's go for the next 10 years. Fantastic. And so that's basically what's going on there right now and you can see here with gold. Gold is continuing to pull back here. Let me bring up the actual GLD here. The actual gold price itself. You can see how that even if we do continue to get a bit more of a pullback, we've got this whole 1400 level here, which is a very, very, very significant level for the actual gold market. If I look at the silver market, if you see on the short term, silver actually had a bit of a drop down. So I do see silver actually continue to have a bit more of a fall where we are right now on a short term basis. But long term, guys, as I said before, long term, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Now, guys, if you'd like to learn when I said before about trading the markets, if you'd like to learn how I trade the markets, then join me on my next web class at johnslivetrain.com, and I'll teach you how I trade the markets. Investing is a completely different story, but how I trade the markets, what sort of pattern I look for, what sort of entry setups I look for, and all that sort of stuff, how I scan the markets, all that sort of stuff. So just go to johnslivetrain.com and you'll be able to see all that from there. So we can see what's happening here even with the gold market, right? If I bring up the SLV as well too. The SLV right now. So this is what's happening right now on the SLV, right? Isn't this just, oh my goodness, guys. It's really, really, really incredible, guys. And it's just like, I see this thing like down here at this $15 level on average for quite some time. This whole sideways period here, guys, this is the calm before the storm. It really is. It is the calm before the storm. And it's so exciting because once you can clearly see what is going on, you can position yourself and you know by the end of the next decade, you are going to be doing so well financially because you just positioned yourself and then let the thing go. And whenever it kicks in, whenever things happen, you're not trying to time the market. You're just there. Oh my goodness. Then, especially if you can, then on top of that, if you can start to really learn the skill of trading the markets for active income, because that's a different skill, then yeah. Because see how they're different, right? Trading is like I'm looking for my number one pattern and my number one setup, and I'm looking to trade that for income, right? So that's there. But investing long term, right? Then you need to look at the macros, and you look at the cycles, and you look at the fundamentals and how things are going to play out then just position yourself and say thank you very much for your homemade biscuits. Kiss your babies, say thank you to your wife, because this is going to be the next decade can be either the worst decade for you or the best decade for you. Especially with my private clients, right? With my private clients, I'm doing this stuff. I'm doing these sessions for them all the time, and keeping on top of them to make sure that, with my private clients, I'm making sure that they're continue to do really well trading for income, but secondly, being prepared and understanding this sort of stuff, because it is going to be so incredible. So incredible. And the reason why it's so incredible is because people say, oh, the big short, right? Oh, the big short, blah, blah, blah. Who cares about the big short, right? What about the big boom? And all you need to know, right, is like the big boom, you're now prepared. You now know ahead of time what's likely to happen. So, yes, the big short, they predicted the big short and so on and so forth. Now, do you realize Michael Burry, he actually started, I think it was 2005. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Put in the chat box if I'm wrong here. But I think it was 2005, when Michael Burry actually started to place a bet against the housing market, essentially, with the banks. 2005. You do realize, right? It wasn't until like the middle of 2008 when things really started to heat up. See how patient he was? Years, right? 5, 6, 7, 8. What's that? 3 or 4 years. And he was so patient for what? The big bang. And then it happened, all unfolded, and guess what? He just lapped it up. He said, thank you very much for your homemade biscuits. And because he just saw what was going to happen, right? That's the same mentality and same analogy you need to apply to these long-term investing trades, right? Now, guys, all I'm saying is this, right? That anything can happen, right? There is a chance that this doesn't happen and they somehow do whatever, right? So there is a risk to all trading. It's not a guaranteed. So you must understand that as well too. But there's a very, very, very high probability that this is what's likely to happen. And if you imply the mentality of Michael Burry, I'm getting in now, but I know the next 3-4 years, oh my goodness, this is going to be crazy. Then that's the mentality you take, right? That's the mentality you take from these positions and say, oh my goodness, bring it on, right? Bring it on. Bring on the next decade. So yeah. So anyway, guys, so that's silver and gold itself. I'm just so excited for that. Let me bring up. So on a short-term basis, guys, let's have a look here. Let's have a quick look here on the short-term basis. On a short-term basis, I see SLV. I see SLV getting down towards at least this $15 level here. We had a bit of a breakout just recently, a nice volume increase. So we're probably going to head down towards this $15 level here on a short-term basis with silver. Especially if you actually look at the silver price, you can see how we actually broke down. So yeah, we're probably likely to at least have at least a bit of a downfall, a bit of a push to the downside now on a short-term basis here, right? Again, I'm talking about the next week. What I said, remember what I said before, right? The two different stories here. One is 4 or 5 years. And same with the gold as well too, right? Gold is sort of just really, again, gold is holding quite strong, especially in this channel through here. So let's bring up this last sort of 3 months. We can see how we're just sort of still stuck in this overall channel. Very, very unpredictable action, right? Up and down, very volatile. We're not really trending. We're not really moving. So it's very, very, very unpredictable. I definitely want to start to see this thing break out and start to do it. Now, on a short-term basis, guys, we could actually even see this thing pull back right back down towards these this $1,400, $1,500 level through here. So guys, if you'd like to learn how I trade the markets and how my trading system and how I scan and all that sort of stuff, then go to johnslivetraining.com and join my next web class. You're going to absolutely love it. So, and on the web class, guys, I teach you what to look for so you can start to apply to your own trading today. Alrighty, guys, let's actually get straight into some Q&A. So if you got any questions, put it on there. Gold Silver, hi there. Hey, Gold Silver. Jeremy. Hey, Jeremy. Equilibrium on market is likely. Watching for lower high, higher low, then breakout up or down. Strong support SPY at all-time new highs. So yeah, so what you're looking for is if you're looking at the stock market, you're looking at for some sort of lower high or a higher low. Right now we simply just made a higher low. So that's what we've done here. So there's no yeah, so we just made a higher low through here. So there's nothing here that's saying we're now likely to make a lower low or breaking past these previous lows. If we do fail here and we start to roll over, yeah, then that could definitely be a different type of story there. It's bullish until it's not, and it's bullish until it's not. And then bullish simply means trading with the trend, right? The trend is up, and then so when the trend is not up, when we start to break down, when we start to break out of these levels through here, okay, when we start to break out of these levels through here. And we start to create some sort of lower high, lower low, right? We start to create that. That's when it's no longer bullish. But what a lot of people do, right? They see we have this low here, they run up, has a pullback, or it's the top of the market. It's just a higher low, run up, higher low, sideways, breakout, run up. What's this here? Just another higher low. So we're making these higher lows all the way up. So that's the reason why it's bullish until it's not, and they're exactly right. But until it starts to change the tune, trade what you see, not what you think, hope, or fear. Trade what you see, what's happening right now. Never trade based on what you think is going to happen, what you hope is going to happen, or what you're fearful of something is going to happen. So you're fearful the market's going to crash right now, then yeah. Let's have so when you say silver and gold is going to be big, when does that happen? If the markets are going to move higher, then metal commodities are going down, correct? No, that's not correct. That is an assumption that you've made there. I can't pronounce the name there, but if you look at something here right now, okay, if you look at the overall. Let's look at this here, right? That is not correct. A lot of people believe, well, the stock market's going up, the metals are going to go down. That's not necessarily true. Okay, if you look at this, if you look at the overall picture from 2009, what's happened with the stock market, right? We've been pretty much going up ever since. Right? Now, since since the start of the year, right? We've been pretty much going up. Yes, sir, stepping bases and so on and so forth. But if we have a look at the actual silver price or even gold price, right? Yes, gold had a little bit of pullback, right? But it majorly had a big run as well too. And now we're just having a bit of a pullback here. So as you can see, if you look at this gold price here on this chart here, look at this here, right? It's just a very, very, very slight pullback. So if you look at 2019 on an overall picture, guess what gold's been doing, right? Very big bull market. And with pullbacks, what's the actual stock market been doing? Going up as well too. So never think that just because the stock market's going up that the actual that the metals are going to go down as well too, right? So you can see definitely that through there when it comes to silver and gold as well too. But definitely gold, you can see how it's just really holding strong through here before we start to see a move. Gold to 100,000, silver 25,000 to 50,000. Oh, I would definitely want to make those numbers, man. Like that's just going crazy. Possibly a 5,000. You want to say gold, but you definitely want to make those pie in the sky numbers. Like that's just a pie in the sky thought. And that's the thing, right? You never know where it's going to go to. Like no one could ever predict Bitcoin was going to get to 20,000. So no one ever knew that. So don't try to predict the number. Don't try to predict like where you think it's going to go. Just say this is what's likely to happen. We're going to see a big move. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know how severe it's going to be. I don't know when that's going to be. Right? I believe we've already started that big move. Remember, big move over a couple of year period or over 5 year period. I believe gold has already started that move. Just because it's not going up today or hasn't been going up the last 6 months, doesn't matter. We made a big move up and we're just having a nice pullback. Because that's what you're going to expect even over the next 5-10 years. You're going to see a big move up and then you're going to see a pullback, because that's just what the market does. Understand that one important important fact about the markets, that if the markets do go up quite significantly, then they're probably going to spend a bit of time having a pullback or sideways just to refuel and so on and so forth. James Martin, any sources? Oh, yeah, gold and silver, yeah. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah, exactly. Yep. It took 2 years for the mortgage to reset the teaser rates. Okay, cool. Yep. But wasn't it, guys, wasn't it 2005 that Michael Berry started to place his bets, so to speak, with the banks? Like, he started to load up big time, where he knew 2007 things were going to start to unfold. I'm pretty sure it was. I think that's the whole point I'm trying to say, is he saw what was happening and what was going to happen, and so he went in. Same with silver and gold, or especially gold. Hello, John. Do you follow the USD JPY negative correlation to gold? Thanks. No, Bernadette. No. I just simply follow big macro cycles, what's really going on and what's going to happen, and then I position myself from that. And then when I'm trading the markets, I simply just trade what I see, which means I trade my pattern, and I don't get involved. I don't get involved on a short-term basis, guys, like getting in and getting out, until I see my setup, until I see a very strong setup there. So yeah, one of the biggest mistakes a trader can do is one of the biggest mistakes that they can do is go do something because they think something's going to happen, right? So, for example, if they think that, if they think that the dollar is going to start declining right now, they'll go buy gold, and that's not necessarily true overall, right? And what I mean by that is that we may see a dollar pullback, and it doesn't mean just because the dollar is pulling back that gold is going to be bullish right now. The dollar may pull back and gold may pull back for a few months with it together, and then gold takes off. So you never want to place a position because this is happening, so I'm going to go over here and place this trade. The stock market's going to crash. Oh my goodness, I'm going to short Amazon. No. Trade that market because of what's going on, right? I'm a long-term metal. I'm long-term gold and silver, because of what I've just said there. I have no idea how it's going to happen. I don't care about this pullback right now. I've actually been long. I've been long since basically the middle of this year, in gold and silver. But so this pullback right now, I don't really care about that. I was expecting some sort of a pullback. I'm expecting that, because that's how the bull market, even big bull markets, right? Big bull market simply means that it goes up for a few weeks or for a few months, and then pulls back for a few weeks or a few months, and then goes for another big run for a few months. And then maybe even a big run, like a real big run for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 months, and then has some sort of really healthy correction, and then it goes for another big run again, right? That's what a healthy bull market is, long term. So you can't be, if you're positioning yourself for the next 10 years, you can't be so emotionally swung about day by day. Oh my goodness, the market, silver's been pulling back for the last week. Oh my goodness, what does that mean? Nothing. Nothing. I'm new to buying silver, but in my first 2 months, I've already bought close to 69 total ounces in jewelry, bullion, and old coins. Buying all I can while it's low. Cool. My question is, why are you buying jewelry? And old coins and stuff like that. It's like, you definitely don't want to be yeah. Are you doing that because you think that's the right thing to do? Yeah. John, so if gold moves, then should silver move the same direction together? Well, yes and no. right? Because just because gold makes a move doesn't mean silver is going to make the move at the exact same time. Gold may make it, like if you look at the actual markets itself, right? You can see that gold actually took off massively. If you look at my cursor, the top chart here is gold, the bottom chart here is silver, right? Gold absolutely just took off like a rocket, right? It absolutely just took off through here. But where silver, right? It just started. It just started. Then we went sideways. And as you can see, right, as gold went sideways for a bit through here, silver started to make some pretty big moves. Right? So the first bit from here to here, silver and gold started to do this. Gold really took off. But then guess what? Gold started to go through a bit of a sideways period through here. But as it started to have a bit of a sideways period, guess what happened with silver? Look at this silver period, right? Silver took off as gold was going sideways. And then gold took off again, and then so did silver with it. So they sort of do go in correlation together, but it's not always. One thing you can expect is that silver is a much more of a wildcat. Much more of a wildcat. And so by looking at the long term, say on, let's just bring up the SLV price here, right? And if we bring up this chart here, one thing you can be assured, right, that this is the movement in silver is going to be so much bigger than the actual gold move in percentage terms, only because it's so much more volatile. But the pullback's going to be bigger as well too, as you can see right now, right? You can see just by looking at this time frame here, this is the pullback here that's happening with gold, right? Gold is not pulling back as much because that's what gold is, right? Gold is not a very big volatile mover, but look at the big pullback we've actually been getting right now in silver market. So silver's being just absolutely it's been having a pretty big pullback. So you expect it's a lot more volatile. You can do I love investing in gold and I love trading silver. So I hope that makes sense there. So guys, if you'd like to learn my trading system, how I trade the markets, if you'd like to learn the number one thing that actually took me from losing $250,000 to becoming successful in the markets, then join me on my next web class and I'm going to share with you all the details to my trading system, how I trade the markets, how I scan to find these trades, how I trade options and all that down home country goodness. Whether you trade the Forex or futures markets, I'm going to share those trades with you as well too. Plus dozens of examples that's happened recently as well. So join me on my next web class at johnslivetraining.com. And as soon as you leave the web class, guys, you'll know exactly one, what to do to start moving forward ahead in the markets, and secondly, you'll know exactly what to start focusing on the charts to at least starting to have a real nice move. Yes, that's right. Yes, John, big thanks for your insights, bro. No problem. John, any thoughts on WTI? Let's have a look at WTI. Any thoughts on this one? No, there's really no one really in control right now. It's very sideways. Long term, I can see. Right, long term, I can see that we actually had a pretty. I can see long term we had a pretty big sort of resistance. Oh, look at this. Oh, there you go. I think I actually traded this one. Yeah, I think I traded this one. Look at this here. Run up, big move up. Higher low. Look at this beautiful just movement here, right? Nice big up bar through here, right? Round to the top of the channel, then pulled back. Nice little high low again, ran up. Nice little high low again, ran up, high low, double top. And then we started to go through these gyrations, and then we made this lower high. Right? So then we made this lower high through here, and now we just made this lower high through here. So the sellers have been lowering their prices pretty much. We went through a bit of a bullish move. And then the trend started to change. You notice here that we made a higher low, breaking past previous highs. Higher high, higher low, breaking past previous highs. Right up, higher low, did not break past previous highs, double top, then created a lower low, then created a higher high, then created a lower low. Then we ran up, created a lower high, and now we've just been sort of just lowering our prices from there. So, yeah. Sorry, oil, John. Oil. Okay. Oil. Oil has definitely been a big thing for a lot of people, haven't they? So let's have a look at this here. So short-term oil. Let's go back to daily. Short-term oil, guys, very, very, very unpredictable on the chart here. Right, there's not really much going on here. There's nothing really too clear. It's just very, very choppy, very, very ugly sideways action. So I would not want to be getting involved with this at all until we start to get a nice breakout or nice whatever through here, or whatever nice sort of channel through here. I do know that we're sort of in between these levels through here, so probably somewhere around about there. We're probably like that. So we're very, 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 very sideways through here. Not really much going on. So it'd be really interesting to see how. Let me delete that. It'd be really interesting to see how I think long term where we're gonna break out here, because we're really squeezing up. If I go back to my monthly charts here, we've been squeezing up into this long term triangle pattern here for the last sort of probably for quite some time, right? Yeah, for almost 12 months now, we're definitely getting to the pointy end of this triangle pattern, and once it breaks, then we're probably likely to break hard. So until then, we're probably going to go through this bit of a gyrations. Not really much going on. If I go back to my weekly, right? There's all these weekly bars. Probably a bit of gyrations here until we actually decide where we're going to break. If we break down, we're probably heading down towards this $30 level here. If we break up, then we're probably heading towards that 110 level there. So I hope this helps you out today, guys. Once again, head on down to johnslivetraining.com. Join my next web class where, one, you're going to see exactly what I did to go from $250,000 debt to where I am today. Secondly, you're going to learn my number one trading system. You're going to learn how I scan the markets, how I trade options, how to trade the futures and forex market using this system as well too, and so much more. It's a full training, so you can start to change the way you trade the markets today. And I hope this really, really helps you out in a nutshell there, guys. So, what scans in the TC1000 do you use for finding trades? Well, I have firstly, again on my John's live training on the web class, you'll be able to see the scans that I use. But the first thing is that I know exactly what I'm looking for in the setup first, right? So firstly, what I mean by that is that I know exactly the chart pattern, the setup I'm looking for on the charts. And then I've created scanning codes and scanning setups to then scan the markets, thousands of stocks. So then I only have to trade the markets for an hour or less per day, going through the short-term scans, the potentials. Instead of thousands, I might only have maybe 10, 20, 30 potentials to look for to see if there's any trades for that day. So that's the first thing you need to know exactly what to look for, what goes into a good trading setup, and then secondly, having scans to find those as well too. Is there anything that will go up in the markets besides leverage ETFs when the market crashes? Yeah, sure. Plenty of things are going to go up at that time. Crypto, probably a lot of crypto is going to go up. Not all cryptos, all right? Not all cryptos. And it may not be Bitcoin. Probably a lot of miners are going to go up. Silver, gold, or there's a lot of bullishness that's going to come out of those things, right? Safe haven, especially gold. Gold is, yes, definitely, yeah. So I hope that makes sense there. Hey, Demar 2020. Demar 2020. All right, guys, that's it for me today. Head on down to johnslivetraining.com to join my next web class, guys, and I look forward to seeing you on my web class today. And I'm going to share with you everything that goes into a really, really, really good, successful trading system, how to scan trades, how to find trades, and the number one thing that's stopping you from moving forward right now that was stopping me for so many years, and the number one thing that I did to actually completely start to turn around, to go from losing to actually start to do really well in the markets. All right, guys, thanks for that, and I'll speak to you soon.